Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we're looking at the Dragon Ball Z Figurized Standard Krillin figure, which I'm very excited to show you because Krillin is one of my favorite characters of all time ever, and this thing turned out pretty cool. Now this is a review sample, that's what that says right there, sent from Bandai Namco, so thanks to them for that. And if you want to thank them for things while you're at it, they also sent this big guy as a review sample. And I decided, after asking them, of course, if it would be okay, that we would not review this set, that we would actually include it in a giveaway in the very near future. So make sure you keep your eyes out for that. But just so you know, the difference in this set, and you can see it says it right there, but it comes with Goku and Krillin, and they're basically the same thing as the standard figures, except they have a different color scheme to make them look like they're powered up, and it comes with a display stand. So that's pretty awesome. But that's not what we're doing today. Today we're looking at Krillin. He's just really kind of awesome. It's a really great recreation of Krillin, so let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 12.5 centimeters to the top of the head, which makes him just shy of 5 inches. So he is definitely shorter than Goku, which is a good thing. I think maybe he's still kind of tall. I think a lot of the time he's been even smaller, but that's probably pretty close. I think that's accurate. I haven't checked, and it's been a long time since I've watched it, so don't hold me to that. But just in case you're curious, here's a comparison against the Figure Arts Goku. And since the scale is weird, obviously, with Krillin, I think you could get away with using him in your collection more so than most of the other Figurized figures. So that's something you may want to consider if you don't have the Figure Arts version. Now, this guy is a model kit, so there's no paint on him at all, but they did some pretty clever things for the coloring. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. First, let's talk about accessories. We do have the one standard face where he's got almost like a little bit of a smirky smile going on. Then we have one face where he looks surprised and he's looking down and off to the side. And then we have the one face where he's clearly angry and yelling. And they all look absolutely fantastic. I want to point out that for the faces, like I said, there's no paint on this guy, but they do have that black line going around the eye. The eyes are white, so if you're a fan of Krillin not having white eyes, that is going to be a bummer for you because they are clearly white. But they did a really nice job getting that black line going around there. And if you trim it up like you're supposed to, I just clip mine and build them because I do the speed build videos, you wouldn't have like that little notch of white sticking out there. You could just trim that with a knife before you put it together. But then they also have a separate piece in the back of the head that comes through to make those 6 dots on his forehead. And it just looks fantastic. And I really, really like the likeness on this figure. They just really nail the likenesses in this line. But continuing with the accessories, we do have some interchangeable hands, 2 fist hands, 2 energy effect hands with hinges in them, and then 2 gripping hands with a slot in them, and of course hinges in the wrists. And those hands are for holding the little remote detonator for Android 18. And that does have a sticker on there. And then we do have some energy effect parts. We have one blast effect, which is really awesome looking. And then we have the Destructo disc, which looks particularly fantastic. Very nicely done. And then we also have the 2 different open mouth faces have stickers for the tongues. We have the sticker for the front of his gi right here, and the one on the back. No alternate options like we had for Goku. And no stickers on his boots. He just has colored soles. So that's it. Not too many stickers for this guy, but again, he looks really good. He doesn't really need anything. I mean, they do a really good job with the coloring on the molded plastic, and if you wanted to paint it, you could, and it would make it look even better, but it looks really good with those couple of stickers that they did include, so I definitely think these look nice, and I really like the overall anatomy. It looks exactly the way it's supposed to. It doesn't have any real stylization. It looks just like the Dragon Ball style, which is what it is, so that's a good thing. So let's go ahead and talk articulation. For the neck, we have the same kind of thing as Goku, where it's a hinged double ball peg, so you technically have all kinds of crazy motion in there, but once it's actually on the figure, you're really just going to get the hinge, a little bit of a hinge on top of the neck and a ball peg. So it's pretty good. Krillin's head doesn't really get in the way too much, and then this whole neck is hinged as well, so you can really pose his head however you want to. He doesn't have any hair or anything to get in the way, so it's pretty good. I like that. So for the arm, we have a butterfly that comes out almost all the way. It's pretty much way too far, but that means you can pretty much do whatever you want with it, and you don't have to take it out that far if you don't want to, so that's pretty cool. And you'll notice this orange piece right here is a separate piece from the actual butterfly, so it's technically a floating piece. and then the blue is just part of the arm. So you can actually rotate the whole arm, including this floating orange piece, and it makes it one of the best shoulder joints we've ever seen, I think. It's just really, really nice. It's so seamless looking, and it just functions. So you have your hinge still in your shoulder, and then you have the full rotation, and you have a bicep swivel in there. So it's pretty awesome. It works very, very nicely. Make sure if you're messing around with it like I am, you don't rotate it around the wrong way or it'll look goofy. You don't want the big part at the bottom, but very, very nicely done. It hides the joint very well. And of course, if you don't want to have the butterfly sticking out, you don't have to. So that's pretty good. Single jointed elbow, but you get better than 90 degrees and it looks pretty good. So I like that. You have a ball peg for the wrist, which functions just fine. No problems at all. For the diaphragm joint, it's pretty much the same as Goku's. It's just a lot tinier and a little bit more constrictive, not constructive. So you have a ball peg in there and a hinge to let him lean forward, which the hinge is very nice. Ball peg doesn't provide too much range, and then you have another ball peg at the bottom, which has that extension in it. Obviously, you can pull it off if you want to, but you can slide it up and down to give yourself better range if you want, so that'll be helpful. The belt does not move up and down. This piece does have a little hinge on it, as you saw. It does tend to pop off a little bit too easily. I think it probably would have been better, though slightly less aesthetically pleasing, to have it hooked up for it to peg in going down so that you don't just bump it and it falls off all the time. But maybe they did it this way so that you don't actually break the clip. Either way, it's pretty good, and this does have that a little bit of range on there so that you can move it with the hips. Now, the hips are just like Goku's. They have the hinged ball peg, so they drop down, and you can get pretty good range out of them, but this will be in the way to some extent. But really, really solid posability. I just really like the way they execute the articulation on these guys, and considering we have to build it, I don't understand why we can't get better articulation on some of the figures that come pre-built. They can get away with a lot more since they don't have to provide pieces for us to snap together. The knee joint, not quite as well executed as Goku's. It's got a little bit more of a shelf going on right here, but still very nicely done. Better than 90 degrees. Nice flush sculpt other than that shelf, which doesn't even need to be there, but it is. We should definitely have joints like this on our figure arts line. For the boot, there's no swivel at the top. As you can see, it's sculpted to fit in. So you have a full ball hinge for the ankle. It'll rotate around like that. You have the hinge, which is a little bit more limited, but you can kind of pull the foot down some, get a little bit more range. And then you also have an ankle rocker, but you're going to have to be careful because if you aren't, it will pop out the ankle joint. Technically, it still works. So you can see, I'll zoom in so you can see it a little closer. Technically, right now, the ankle ball hinge has been disconnected to some extent, but it's got little notches in there. So you can actually leave it disconnected if you really want that good hinge, or you can just push it in and it's fine. So yeah, really good posability. Torso's a little bit cumbersome and limited, but otherwise this guy's really solid and it looks really good. I don't know. I think that's a better looking Krillin than the figure arts, to be completely honest. I think they get the proportions and the styling a little bit more accurate on this line, so I definitely like it. I think you guys will too, so that'll do it. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff, so make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and in the meantime, keep collecting.